like to introduce our guest speaker. I met Lady Tay Adams through Marie Christine Williams. I'm sure you all remember Marie Christine Williams. She spoke at our club sometime last year about how she went through a tough time in Rwanda during the Rwandan massacre, and how she survived all the way through that. I met Lady Tay through Marie Christine Williams. Lady Tay Adams is also known as Lady Tay the Vision Queen. She's also called Lady Warrior, and you'll probably find out why shortly. She's a keynote speaker, an aspiring author. She has a book coming out. She's also a fitness instructor who inspires and transforms through discipline, faith, and action. She was once 275 pounds, and now she is now living a full life, helping others to actually come to their true identity as well. Without much ado, I'm going to have you all give her a warm, warming welcome.
I want to thank you guys so much for having me this afternoon. It is my pleasure. My speech today is called The Wise Woman Who Builds, and this is my story. Have you ever felt like you was under construction and nobody could see the masterpiece being built? Well, that's how I felt for many years in my life. My story started off as a grandma's girl. Every Sunday and every day after school, I was always with my grandmother. And my family was very close, had a loving family. We loved junk food. Candies, pies, cakes, you name it, we always had it. And one of my sweetest memories was the beginning. I was in Sunday school in choir, the Starlight Choir, and every year we had a pageant where we sold chocolate bars. Well, I sold chocolate bars for them in 1986 and 87. And of course, I won as Miss Starlight. And the reason being is because my whole family bought all the chocolate bars and we ate them. So I guess you could call me the chocolate queen as well, because I had my share of them, okay? But one of the things about it, we never really discussed the fact that we were all obese. Obesity ran in our family. Obesity, diabetes, that was a big thing in our family. And we never really wanted to talk about that, but that's a real thing. Young and old, we faced that in our family. And so, me growing up as a chunky, cute girl, growing up in a neighborhood, a new neighborhood that they didn't know me much, I dealt with bullying. And I thought I was going to make some new friends, and these guys, they threw pepper in my eyes and called me names. And that sweet little girl, Starlight Queen, I was so confident, but when that happened, shame came into my life, and that became my identity. So from that day forth, I was scared to go outside and was scared to meet new friends. So I spent a lot of my time in the house playing video games, watching TV, pretending I'm on the TV, making friends with the people on TV, because I no longer trusted people. And so growing up during that time, as I got older, I became a people pleaser. I was always the one that would crack jokes just to hide my insecurities. And during that time, I gained a whole lot of weight. I was the biggest in my high school, but yet I was very talented. So I would try to use my talent to hide my insecurities. And that identity that I had in myself was with me most of my adult life. So by the time I met my husband, and he would tell me how beautiful I was, I didn't believe him. because that was not the identity that I had of myself. So many years, he tried to reach me and tell me how wonderful and beautiful I am. I had a poor self-image, and I would eat, but then I would starve myself and try to lose weight and go on these different diets and thinking that that was the problem. If I just got the weight off, then everything would be okay. And it wasn't, because I would lose weight and I would still not be okay. And then I would gain it back because I didn't heal. I didn't heal what's in between my ears. So many years, that was a cycle that I went through. And one day, during my depression, I turned to the Word of God and I went to Proverbs and I came by this scripture. And I've seen it many, many times before. But this time it was different. It said, a wise woman builds her house, and a foolish one tears it down with her hands. And I thought about that scripture because it hit me. I was using my hands and my words to tear down my temple, my body that God blessed me with. And it really hit me that day. And from then on, I've been wanting to get wise about why I was stuck in that pattern of destruction on my life. Because the more I tried to get free of it, the more I couldn't get free, because I needed to dig deep to find out what was going on there. You know, something was causing it. You know, what happened there? So one day, my son, we had our son pretty late. We've been praying for a child, 8 years. We finally had him. And he was such a joy in our life, you know, our only child. But then we found out that he was autistic, and that changed our life a lot, because we had to adjust to being able to take care of him. So I left my career to be a caregiver of my beautiful son, Jaden, there. And during the process of that, I really stopped taking care of myself. I went from going up and down on the scale, but then one day I just gave up, and I got all the way up to 275, and my parents was very concerned about me. But, you know, I tried everything. I didn't know, what am I doing wrong? And so one day, my son, he was a little scientist, and he liked to experiment. He was playing with something in his room, and it caught on fire. And I heard a loud surge, and I ran in there, and he was on fire. And nothing else mattered at the time. All I cared about was making sure my son is okay. So I immediately went in, saved his life. He went into the hospital with 3rd-degree burns, 31 days, and 6 surgeries to restore his hand. And I reached out to God and I said, Lord, I gotta be here for my son. I gotta be healthy. I can't die of heart disease or diabetes like the rest of my family. Lord, please show me the way. What do I need to do? I need to change, Lord. And all I could think about is getting healthy for my son. It was no longer about me. It was about the fact that I needed to be healthy for him. So when we came back from the hospital, I immediately started fasting and praying. And God was just showing me different doctors, talking about insulin resistance and different things, and you know, how to heal. And I started fasting and praying and fasting and praying. And during that time, I started being healed of junk food addiction. I no longer had the taste to, you know, just binge on junk food anymore. And then as the energy to start walking. And I just started walking every day. And I just started talking to the Lord while walking. And then eventually, I started visualizing myself as, what if I can be a coach, an athlete? It's never too late. Yes, I'm 42, but it's never too late. And then how many other women go through the same thing? You know, how many other women go through this fight where they just take care of their kids and just forget about themselves? And I just started thinking about that. And I really had to go to war. I had to go to war with my old mindset. Get rid of all the old defeated ways. Seeing myself as a person that is capable of finally sticking to what I said I would do. Because for many years, and my husband would tell you, he would tell me all the time, you say you're gonna do it, but you don't. Well, this time I was able to stick, because it wasn't about me. It was about purpose. It was about me fighting and becoming a warrior queen. Right here in this brain, to heal myself first, and to help other ladies that are going through the same thing. You know, I went through pressure in my life. Pressure can either break you or it can make you better. Diamonds, they come here by pressure. Pearls come here by pressure. Well, guess what? So do strong women, you know? And my goal and my mission is for the rest of my life is to help other women, especially caregivers like me, to know that you have a purpose. And one of your purposes is getting healthy for your family so that you can be here. And you can be here for your family, and you have a purpose in your life. And I'm here to help all the other warrior queens just like myself. And that's my goal, to do just that. And I just want to thank you guys for allowing me to come and share my story with you. And you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Would like to open up the floor for questions.
You know, I think one of the worst things that happens in the school atmosphere is bullying.
Yes.
And I've always thought, if I were a principal, the first thing I'd do is talk to those kindergartners and explain to them that if they bullied anyone, there would be severe consequences, and then just follow that role. But it's terrible. I mean, I was never bullied, but I've certainly seen it, and it's awful. I mean, see how that affected you.
My whole life.
How many years?
40 plus years. 40 plus years.
It's a.
And it's not like my parents didn't try to help me. They tried to help me, but they didn't understand. And I didn't understand where it came from until when I was fasting and praying, and God showed me the root cause of where it came from. It's always a root cause of why we get into those patterns. And I had to find out what the root cause was. And that was one of them. There was other things, but that was one of the major things.
Would you tell us about your son now?
My son, Jaden. Jaden is 19 years old, and he just graduated from high school last year. And Jaden, he has his challenges even now. He's in certain therapy, ABA therapy, to help him be able to cope with what he's going through. My mom, his grandmother, passed last year, and when she passed, he had a nervous breakdown. So that's one of the reasons why he's not as verbal. He used to be more verbal than that. But, God is good and awesome. He put me in a situation where I can caregive and do more for my son now than I could before. You know, giving me opportunities to be able to do what I need to do for him and to be strong for him, you know. Because like I said, when I was 275 pounds, I was out of shape, I was depressed, I couldn't get around. So, Jaden, he's the catalyst of what fired me up, y'all. Him right there. In my book that's coming out, I Am Rebuilding Me, I am going into more detail about Jaden and what happened with him with the hospital. He was in there for 31 days, and it was during the holidays, and it was very scary. I really had to get into the spiritual realm because they tried to tell me that he would lose his hand and everything, but I wasn't. I said, oh no, we're gonna fight for Jaden. And I'm still fighting for him. Thank you. Yes, sir.
When you work with other women on their weight and other issues, are you doing that in your home or their home, or do you have a
I do it on
gym?
Zoom. Yeah, we have Zoom meetings. I meet with women all over the world. Most of them are obese, like over 200 pounds. And I tell you guys, every time I get a client like that, it's always a root cause. People don't just go to just start eating junk when they know. I mean, they go to the doctor tell you, oh, if you stop eating this way, you know, you won't have high blood pressure. Dude, they don't want to eat that way. It's something here that's triggering them to do it. And that's why I go in with them asking questions and try to figure out what's the root cause. Where did it come from? When did you notice it start? Because it's always a root cause. See, people don't understand it. Junk food addiction is I say is more addictive than cocaine because you have to eat. You know, you have to eat, and then you get, you know, into social events, and if you're not careful, like during my time when I was fasting and praying and reducing my weight, I didn't go around my family for a whole year. That was tough, but I knew that I was too weak to go around them because they love the junk food, like I said. They still do. I got family, cousins that's like 300, 400, 500 pounds. So I knew that if I wanted to break it finally, that I had to stay away so that I can get myself together. And, you know, I can go around them now and don't fall like that because I don't have the desire anymore. But at one point I did, you know. So it's like, it's an addiction. People don't realize that it really is real. And like I said, you have to eat. And then we live in a society where, you know, everybody wants to get together and have junk food, you know, so. Yes, ma'am.
You keep talking about fasting. Is that how you lost your weight, and then how do you maintain it?
I did fasting along with walking, and I still have a fasting pattern that I do. I fast on Mondays and Wednesdays every week, but I don't do it because I'm trying to maintain my weight. I do it spiritually, but I just, because I feel like I had insulin resistance, I try not to eat a lot of sugary foods again to get that back. So I kind of stayed on what you call a ketogenic diet, where I just eat mostly meat and vegetables. You know, I might indulge every now and then, but that's with a friend. And I talk about that in my book, that it's better to indulge with a friend one time than to go home and binge. Because that's what I used to do. I would say, oh no, I don't want that. You know, you be out with your friends and then you go home and eat a whole box of Oreos. Okay? So, you know, I tell my clients, it's better, you know, a taste that, you know, they contributed. But if they gotten to the point where they passed the taste like I have, it's been like 2 years, it's not something that I have to have. It's better to indulge with a friend one time when you're out than to be thinking about it, because it will be calling your name. It really will. So now I'm into bodybuilding. So I've been bodybuilding. That's one way that I'm able to keep the weight up too, because when you build muscle, it burns fat. It keeps your metabolism up. So I really push, not necessarily bodybuilding. You know, I'm a warrior, so I'm on that extreme. You know, the art will tell you. But I do believe that us women over 35 should be doing some kind of resistance training, because it don't just help with muscles, it also help with your bones. And you have to think longevity. How do you want to age? Do you want to age in a way where you can carry your own groceries? Or do you want to age where you have to depend on the neighborhood kids or DoorDash or somebody to bring your groceries in? You know, I want to be able to carry my own groceries when I'm 80. So I think about longevity now, you know. And one of the doctors that I love that talks about longevity, her name is Dr. Gabriel Lyon. She has a book called Forever Strong. And she worked in nursing homes when she was doing her internship. And she talked about how a lot of the women in there, how they aged if they had just got into working out and working their muscles. You know, back in the 80s and the 90s, they pushed this low fat and just do cardio. No, you have to do resistance training, because if you just do cardio, you're gonna burn away your muscle tissue, and you're gonna need that as you age. So, you know, I really do teach my clients to get into resistance training. Yes, do the walking. I mean, every bodybuilder walk, especially during the season when they're trying to lean out for shows. Do the walk, but at least 2 to 3 days a week, do some kind of resistance training. You know, you don't have to go warrior, but something. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have 2 questions. The first one is like, because there's some parents and stuff out there who have like kids with disabilities that require like 24-hour care, and they don't really have the time to like exercise or do stuff for themselves. But have you ever like had to work with anyone or any parents yet with that problem?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. My husband makes fun of me because I have a corner in my house that have my own equipment. You know, you probably in a situation like I was for a while where you can't leave the house. Well, all you need is a bag of resistant bands. You could just do resistant bands with YouTube videos. You know, I introduced them to YouTube videos like beachbody.com and stuff like that. And, you know, even when I was big, I still had the desire to work out from home, and I would work out from home when Jaden was little. And I just had a pair of 3, 5, and 8 pound dumbbells. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with just 3, 5, and 8 pound dumbbells, or you can buy a bag of resistant bands that you can get from Amazon or Five Below, and you just follow a workout video online. So there's always a way around it, and I focus with my clients on what you call functional training, where you're doing workouts at home that's similar to anything that you would need to do around the house. Like squats, you're gonna need to be able to do squats to pick up groceries. You know, functional training, stuff like that. That's what we focus on. I don't want them to think that they have to go to the gym, because they use that as an excuse, and I got them on that. I got rid of all of the excuses. I got rid of all your excuses. You can't give them to me because I used to say them, so I know. I was the one. My husband will tell you, I was the one. I had a tread climber. I had all kinds of stuff that was just sitting there collecting dust. But like I said, I didn't change what was in between my ears first. You know, we have to figure out what's the root cause or why you do what you do. You know.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I had one more. I was just like, do you ever hope to like maybe one day open up sort of like your own little small gym area for people to come in like in person and stuff like that?
Yes, that's my dream.
Yeah.
And my dream is not for it to just be a gym, but sort of like a boutique thing where, you know, it's a spa where they have a quiet area. Because like I said, I believe in fasting and praying and meditating and stuff like that. You have to have a quiet time. And I do want to have that kind of spot one day. I'm hoping and praying that with the, you know, with the coaching and the speaking, you know, because this is my first speech, so I'm getting out there, y'all. Thank y'all for allowing me to practice on you. But as the speaking go on in the books and meeting other bodybuilders and stuff, I'm hoping I can get a network of us together to try to open up like a little spa-type gym. My coaching is called One Vision Transformation Coaching. I don't believe in just fitness training, even though I do have my personal, my certified personal training license and life coaching and stuff. I believe in complete transformation. So when I talk with my clients, that's what I'm interested in. If they come to me and say, oh, I just want to lose 5 or 10 pounds. No, I'm not the coach for you. Because I'm going to ask you some uncomfortable questions. And if you're not ready to change, I'm not the coach for you. I believe in complete transformation. And I'm so sorry I don't have my before and after picture. If you could put it up there, I can show you where to get it. But like I said, it wasn't just weight loss for me. I became a whole other person. And that's one of the reasons why people also call me the Vision Queen, because it started off with a vision. One vision and one decision changed my whole destiny. And I had a vision to, you know, be a better mom for Jaden. You know, I was always distracted watching TV. You know, I haven't watched TV in 7 years now, but my husband will tell you I used to be a couch potato. You know, just watch TV, binge watch Netflix all day long, and just eat. And what happened with him, that changed me. I said I wanted to change. I wanted to change the woman in the mirror. And so I believe in complete transformation.
All right, big round of applause.
Thank you. Oh, and my website is kingdomqueentalk.com, where all my social media stuff is. It's just one link where everything is. My YouTube, my Facebook, Instagram is all on one link, kingdomqueentalk.com. And they call me Lady Tay or Tay, the Warrior Queen, because I had to go to war. And I believe in going to war to find the root cause of what caused a person to do what they're doing. Thank you.
It's a great reminder right before National Bikini Day.
I was gonna say, how do you